Hello everyone, very good evening. Vanakkam. Uh, okay, my apologies to you all. Unfortunately, I'm not in a place where I can switch my videos on. It's a pleasure to welcome you all to our 29th session of our Inside View series. I am Bala Subramanian, President of Advertising Club, Madras, and National Head Digital at Dinamada. Over the past sessions, InsightView has helped us explore the evolving landscape of advertising and media. It is not just about knowledge, it's about shared curiosity, meaningful connection, and our collective passion to grow. Today, I encourage you to stay engaged, ask questions, and make the most of this opportunity to learn and interact. Let's continue building this community of insights and ideas. Before we begin, a warm welcome to Mr. Suraj Sali, our secretary and co-founder of Digitally Inspired Media, who will introduce today's speakers and set the tone for an inspiring session. Over to you, Suraj. Enjoy the program and thank you all for being here.
Thank you so much, Bala. And thank you everyone for turning up on a Friday evening for this wonderful session that Miraj is going to be doing in a bit. I am not going to take too much of your time and would like to introduce Miraj to all of you. So Meraj Hasan, Marketing and Brand Strategy Consultant, South Asia, GCC, and Africa. Meraj Hasan is a Dubai based marketing and brand strategy consultant with 20 plus years experience across UAE, KSA, Asia Pacific, and Africa. In his corporate career, Miraj has donned several hats, including brand strategy lead for Reliance Jio, global CMO for Welspun Group for Welspun Group, and strategy lead for brands under Reckitt, Unilever, P&G, and Mondelez. As an independent consultant, Miraj has led strategy and creative for GCC based clients, Dubai International Financial Center, that is DIFC Dubai, crafted brand strategy for Riyadh Digital Innovation District, that's RDID KSA, Royal Commission of AlUla, that is RCU KSA, and Floward, which is from the GCC. Miraj's passion and expertise lie in building, shaping, and expanding brands to create an impact both from brand equity and ROI perspectives. Also, there's something that all of you should know. Miraj is the best selling author of 2 books of poems. He's also a music journalist and a top podcaster. I'd like to welcome Miraj over for our Insight View series. And thank you so much for taking the time out, Miraj, all the way from Dubai on a Friday evening, which I think is a holiday for all of you in that market, right? So in the country, I'm assuming. But thank you so much for being part of the Insight View series and sharing your insights with our community. Thanks. Over to you, Miraj.
Thank you so much, Bala and Suraj, for the warm welcome. Art Club is a Art Club Chennai is a very, Madras is a very esteemed place, and we've been hearing about it ever since I joined the industry I joined advertising industry long ago. That's how I started my career. No, Friday is not a holiday in Dubai anymore. But yeah, KSA it is, so my Saudi client is not troubling me right now. So that's fine. But yeah, thank you very much for having me over in this forum, and it's an honor, it's a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to it completely with some great interactions and taking some learning from this good community for myself as well. There is a selfish interest in learning something from you guys. So great to be here.
Wonderful. Yes. So, Indra, would you be presenting the screen?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you. And it's very nice to see many regulars back in this session today. Happy that all of you have joined again.
Indrani, can you put it on slideshow, please? Yeah, thank you. So I can start, and thank you, Suraj. See, there are 2 ways to go about it. The way I like it is I want the sessions to be interactive, but if you people are more comfortable gathering all your questions and having it in the end, I'm okay with that as well. So, Suraj, what do you suggest? How should we go about it?
I think we can take it in the end, Miraj, if that
Okay,
works, so
not
that so everyone kind of collates their questions and then puts it on the chat group or
perfect.
them on video.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Right. So, look, I am a big hello everyone, by the way, and I'm glad to be here. So I didn't do that. My apologies. Look, this subject called empathy in marketing is very, very special to me because in my heart, because marketing as a discipline per se is a result of capitalism. And capitalism, the moment you say that, you don't think of empathy. Capitalism has a ruthlessness towards it of just making money whichever way you want to do it. That's almost the larger understanding of capitalism. So, so empathy in marketing seems like there's a tension in these two things and they don't go together. But today my session wants to elucidate the fact that they go together, especially in today's world. When marketing started as a discipline, maybe information dissemination was the most important thing. But in today's world, as we have evolved as cultures, as societies, and we become more discerning towards things, especially with the internet and social media coming in, we want conversations to be eye level conversation in which the human side of the brand has to come out. So, which is why I think it's very relevant, especially in today's world. And I'll tell you in subsequent slide why, as we speak, it's all the more important. So that's why the subject here, I thought I'll just touch upon it. If we can move to the next slide, please, Indrani. Thank you. So this is one of my favorite quotes, and from the great poet and civil rights activist Maya Angelou. She was amazing. I mean, if anybody who loves poetry and has not read her, please go ahead and read her stuff, essays and poetry. So she says, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will not forget about how you made them feel. And that's the whole thing about empathy, how you make people feel. Um, it's if you it's not, sometimes people confuse if empathy is the same as sympathy. They use them interchangeably, but that's not the case. Empathy is much bigger and it comes from a much better place than sympathy. And empathy is all about how you're keeping that person first in the conversation or in the relationship or in the situation. So I totally love this quote. It is true for anyone in this life, and you will, I mean, if you recollect and reflect on how your relationships have been or how your friends have been, I mean, your friend, before speaking anything, the person enters the room, you start feeling good, so because they are your friend. So I think this quote goes very well with the marketing aspect also, and I will just touch upon with some case studies and so on and so forth. So next slide, please, Andrani. So I've just taken first the meaning of empathy. This is Oxford Dictionary. It's a noun, and the meaning that the dictionary says is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. So why it's different from sympathy? It's because sympathy has an element of pity in it. Sympathy has a element of I feel bad for you. Whereas empathy is all about I feel for you, and I can feel the way you're feeling because I can put myself in your shoes. So that's the dictionary definition. When we apply this to the concept of marketing, it means like truly understanding our customers' needs, desires, and emotions. It goes beyond demographics and statistics and numbers, how much is the market, addressable market, and what is the job to be done. It's about connecting with the human side of our audience. This is something which I champion this empathy in marketing is because when I was in advertising, my role was that of a strategist and a planner. And a planner's job, obviously, everyone who's here knows that the planner's best friend is the consumer. I mean, the servicing guy says my client, creative person says my creative outcome or my cans, and the consumer, the planning guy or the strategist says my consumer. And from there, I started deep diving into the whole thing about and then that's how the insights come out. And then if the right insights are there, then the communication becomes more relevant and more sharp and more effective. So that's what it is, essentially putting the consumer first and understanding the needs and taking them along with you. And that's what the classic definition of empathetic marketing is. Uh, we can move to the next slide. So why does it matter in the world of brands? Now, the first point is what I have put, because in today's day and age, when everyone is talking about this whole new thing called AI, why it makes a lot of sense to have empathetic
Hey,
marketing.
Miraj,
Because
is it for me? I'm not sure, but there's a bit of a audio issue, or is it only for me, Indra? Are you able to hear Miraj properly?
It's only for you,
Sorry
Suraj.
to
We not
interrupt.
able to. Yeah. I think the audio is clear for me.
Okay, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
can you go back
Thanks,
to the
thanks. Sorry,
previous slide?
Miraj.
No worries, no worries. So why does it matter, Sal? The first part is very relevant today, that everyone is grappling or trying to understand or trying to work around how AI works. And in marketing, people are afraid that they'll lose their jobs and or whatnot. But if you take the whole fundamental of empathetic marketing, AI era, to me, currently the way it's functioning, it's a fad. It will continue, but in a different form. And which is why this whole thing about understanding your consumer, representing them as human beings in your communications, putting up warm commercials, emotions with emotions will never, never end. It may happen for the next couple of years. Your commercials will also have AI actors and things like that. They are releasing a movie they released a movie with full feature length film with AI. I think this is a fad, and the more human, and it calls us to become more human as a brand. And that's why it will cut the clutter that is going to happen with the AI era. So I thought that's the first and foremost and the most relevant point for today. The second part is it builds amazing brand relevance, because it makes the consumer feel that the brand is talking my language. Um, think Fast Track, when it launched, it started doing crazy ads with crazy colors long ago, I'm saying 10 years ago, and it started doing things which were just speaking to almost uh, kids who are in the cusp of becoming teenage to adult. They don't have a proper job. They're getting some stipend from their parents, and but they are also perhaps doing some odd jobs here and there, and they cannot afford an expensive watch. So they'd want a funky watch, and the funky watch should have funky communication, which speaks to the youngsters. And so it didn't speak like anything close to Tata, which is has a very sober language, which has a very mature language. Most of the Tata language, Tanish. So they created a separate brand. Uh, didn't give a very overt association with Tata and call it Fast Track. And the communications was crazy stuff. In fact, one of the stuff that stands out in my head is that they did something about coming out of the closet, and they showed it in a way that, the youngsters who will get the idea, okay, they are talking about coming out of the closet from the perspective about the gender part of it. And that was way ahead of its time, and it worked. And Fast Track is still one of the coolest
Yeah.
brands. I mean, they tried doing what Swatch did, globally. Sorry, someone's trying to say something. I just heard some voice. So
Yeah, no, sorry. Please go ahead.
okay. So that's what it does. It builds immediate brand relevance. If the brand is talking my language, then I think it's for me. The third part is it creates an amazing brand differentiation. Now think Paperboard, the drink brand, the soft drink, and it's a pulpy drink and things. And anybody who would have traveled Indigo extensively would have had a Paperboard at least once in their lifetime. What they did was they took all the old recipes of India, and no brand had thought of packaging them as the drink, like Amras, Panna, pomegranate drink. These were the things that we grew up as kids, made in home by our grandma, those who knew how to make it. And there is a nostalgia associated with it, and there's a memory associated with it, and there's an emotion. And that's what they did. They created that emotion. They understood people long for things which are in their childhood. They are not getting it. Some household may be getting it because it's being made in those households, but they wanted to make it an organized thing which anybody can buy. And they created a beautiful campaign talking about Bachpan ki yaadein and the childhood memories. And we used to put boats on the puddles of the rain and things like that. And all great poetry written by Gulzar and narrated by him. And it worked like magic. Everyone fell in love with the brand, and it still is one of the big brands. And the next part is it strengthens emotional bond, builds long-term loyalty. And I've taken the example of Borolin. I don't know how many of you know it. It's a great brand in Bengal, West Bengal, and Bengalis like swear by it. So what they've done is they've just stuck to that core audience, and they've just been speaking to that audience. And Bengalis, wherever they go in the world, they just carry a Borolin with them, and they think Borolin can cure anything. And my father is one of them. He's not fully Bengali, but his mother was with a half Bengali, so he still, after his shave, he applies that. So it's that kind of loyalty that they've built by just talking to that particular community in their own language. And that's where language also. So their ads are largely Bengali, and of course they know that it's the Bengali community they are addressing. It also creates amazing amount of conversations and engagement. Now I'm talking about the platform that we are on right now, which is Zoom. Zoom was very fast when COVID happened, pandemic happened, to latch on to this whole thing about, now things will all be happening online. And they just extended their product amazingly fast. Other platforms did not do it. They did not, I mean, of course, they tried and all, but Zoom was the fastest. And hence the consumer engagement and conversations increased and increased amazingly. And especially COVID gave them that platform to do it. And they also talked about the fact that, in this world, when things are so drastically changing and you're not talking, we are here to make you connect and talk, and whether it's personal life, whether it's office work, and that helped Zoom pretty much. And everyone started on Zoom. I mean, Zoom was the biggest tech gainer from the COVID era. So what are these 5 things that I've just mentioned? Basically everything that an effective brand or business needs. So that's why empathy is so important. And yeah, we can move to the next slide. So let's look at some of the case studies. I've taken a few case studies, some home, some India, some far away. We can move. So this, I think everyone knows, but why I've taken this is, and if you can, I'll just talk about it a little, Indrani, and then we can play the commercial.
Yes.
See, what happens was the world of women and beauty and all beauty products was extremely lopsided before Dove came with this campaign. They showed only pretty faces, they showed perfect bodies, and they showed our product will make you look like this, and you are the best, and you'll be the best, and so on and so forth. Dove did this research amongst the women and worldwide research, and they realized that even when these women use all the greatest beauty products of the world, their own view about themselves is very insecure. They don't think they are beautiful enough. So, and they did a social experiment in which they got one lady to draw herself and another lady to draw the same lady who drew herself, and compared the 2 photographs or the sketches. The lady herself made a very, I won't call a very different version of herself than the lady who was making or sketching her. And the person who was sketching her, the other person, made a very beautiful version of her. And this lady made a not so beautiful version of it. She kind of, so that insight worked towards the campaign, which is about real beauty, which means every woman is a real beauty. That's the whole idea there. And this can never come unless you think with an empathy about the other and how the other is feeling. They realize that women feel insecure about how they look. And this is what, 10, 12, 15, 12 years back. Things have changed a lot today. And thankfully, thanks to this campaign to an extent, women have changed, and the communication has also changed. And it's not that kind of, it's not following the stereotype. But yeah, and that authenticity created relatability and resonance with the women across the world. And the sales increased by 700% in 6 months across the world. Now, we can just play this campaign to showcase what they tried to do.
So,
Hey, Meeraj, you're on mute in case you are talking.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I was mute on. Thanks for pointing that out, Bala. So, why I'm saying is I'm just spending one more minute on the Dove campaign is that from the business perspective also, it made a great sense because it suddenly opens doors. No, it suddenly opens doors for all kinds of women. So you're not talking to a particular kind of women, a particular cross section or a psychograph. You're saying that real beauty is universal and it's everyone is beautiful. So from the business perspective, again, a great exercise, and hence the 700% jump in 6 months, which seems like an amazing result, and which is why I've given the proof point of it also. I didn't know it. I was doing research on this, and then I found out, and I was like shocked. And that's the beauty of the largeness and the impact of this campaign. And this whole thought, it's not just a campaign, it's an idea, and it's an empathetic idea. Next, again, let me talk about it in Rani, and then you can play it. Now, Google Pay, just a bit of an history. It was one of the last players. Already big players were there in India, Paytm and UPay and all of that. Google Pay entered maybe around 8 years back in India, if I'm not wrong, and still they managed to become the top payment app in India. That short duration of time, they are in top 10. What they did was couple of things. One, they talked the real Indian language. They Indianized the comms in a way where every Indian can associate with it. And in this campaign, you would see, although the others also did it, but a Google, when a foreign player comes and does it, it makes a bigger impact. And Google, everyone knows it's not an Indian. Paytm is Indian. So when a global brand comes and talks absolutely your language, it makes a bigger impact on the audience in India, because they think, wow, I mean, Kellogg's did not do it earlier. They did it much later. McDonald's also thought all their products which sell in the US will sell in India brilliantly. Didn't happen till the time they made McAloo Tikki. So they were not empathetic enough initially. They took 8 years to become empathetic, which was stupid, because you enter a market, there's an old saying, when in Rome, do as Romans do. But they didn't work hard on it. But Google, right from day one, if you see the search ad, which made one Indian and Pakistani meet, and Google Pay ad. So they did that part of it. And then they also, from the product perspective, they were very empathetic. They understood the Indian needs. Indians need to pay gas bill payment, mobile recharges, other bill payments. So they included all of that in the app. And hence the whole thing worked. And this is a beautiful communication. The one Indrani will be very kind to play. Just go through it, and then we can talk a little more about that.
सदियों से चलते आ रहे हैं कुछ हिसाब किताब।
गांव के सरपंच के इलेक्शन में खड़ा होना है, कितनी पेमेंट लगेगी?
पर एक सिंपल सी पेमेंट सब बराबर कर सकती है।
200 नगद।
छवि रजावत को सरपंच बना सकती है। 20 रुपए की एक एप्लीकेशन दुनिया की आंखें खोल सकती है। सतेंद्र सिंह के हुनर को IAS तक पहुंचा सकती है। जेब खर्च जोड़कर खरीदे हुए जूते एक नया जुनून जगा सकते हैं। 13 साल की पूर्णा को एवरेस्ट की राह पे डाल सकते हैं। कहानी तो सुनी होगी उन 1 रुपए के सिक्कों की।
आउट नहीं हुआ तो सिक्का तेरा।
अचरेकर सर और उनके स्टूडेंट की 1 रुपए में हीरा तराश जाती है। एक सिंपल सी पेमेंट कुछ बड़ा कर जाती है।
So let me just talk a bit about this. It's a beautiful campaign, obviously great creative, and again Gulzar's poetry too. But the idea is, I'll first touch upon the idea of why it's amazing. It's because what they are saying is, and they've taken real life cases. All these cases are real life cases, whether that IAS officer, blind IAS officer, or it's Sachin, of course, you saw Sachin, or the mountain climber. They took these case studies, and they what they did was that it didn't take them much to get into it. Either it's 200 rupees or it's 150 rupees or 20 rupees. So from the product angle, they are saying Google Pay can transfer any amount of money. It could be 5, 10, 20, whatever. That's the product part of it. But they are also saying that the second aspect there, it's deeply soaked in the Indian soul, Indian psyche. All these case studies are um, Indian case studies, and it's been shot in a way that it's like you don't think that it's an outside company. So they were again, empathy works here because they got these cases, they worked hard towards it. They got Gulzar, who's whatever one of the best poets, to write that whole narrative, shot it beautifully. And so from the comms and idea perspective, amazing. And then they made the product also relevant to the Indian audience, and that which is why innovation also happened in the products. Many things which were not there in the previous apps got in the Google payment app, and they just call it money made simple, and the entire package worked beautifully. And I think my parents use Google Pay today. I mean, my father is 83, mom is 76. They use Google Pay immediately, easily, everywhere. And I'm like, wow, and I'm totally impressed. So anyway, that's about this case study. If we can move to the next one, Indrani, please. Can we move to the next slide, please? Yes. This one is a personal favorite. You can just pause that. This one is a personal favorite because I love music and I also write about music. I'm a music journalist also. And Spotify is my platform. I'm sure all those guys here who have used or you have been using Spotify must be getting this whole thing about Spotify Wrapped at the end of the year. Who are the artists you've heard the most? Who are your favorite song? What are your favorite songs? What are your favorite genres? And so on and so forth. And then people compare, people share it, and all of that. It's such a great idea about making feel each and every user special. And what they just did was they just worked out the algorithm or algo in such a way that what you have heard in the last 1 year will be wrapped up, summed up from the artist, from the genre, from the song, all of that perspective. It'll be given to you in one video. And suddenly you feel very good. Okay, Spotify knows me, Meraj Hasan, as a person, rather than Spotify knowing the listeners. It's one of the greatest marketing move, and it comes from a good place of trying to make the user special, and which is why it has built this huge community, and it's a badge of identity. People want to put it out there. It also like says that this brand is my brand. It's my friend. It knows me. It's not just any other brand trying to sell anything to me. And I'm again, look at the impact in 2023, over 150, and I don't have the 25. I tried finding, I didn't get it, but 23 data, 156 million people engaged with wrapped content. It trended on Twitter, X, Instagram, TikTok, all over the 60 countries, and I've again added the source to it. So, and again, look, this ad they made it only for India, and just check out again. This is a contextualization to the culture, which I'll touch upon on the next slide also. It's so brilliant. You can play it in Rani. Thank you.
Music.
Oh my God, Jonita! Oh my God, Sony! Thanks for making me your top artist this year.
But I thought your top artist would be... देखो देखो कैसी बातें यहाँ की. Hi Sony, thank you. Seems like I'm your top artist of the year.
Oh, hello.
Hey. Top artist कौन होगा? वो तो Spotify Wrapped से ही पता चलेगा ना? Can we just wait?
Okay, fine.
मेरे हुस्न के
So what, I mean, just to
देखो
explain
देखो कैसी बातें
it, these guys are talking about the, let's hear favorite top artists, and this favorite, this one comes in, the Jonita Gandhi, and other is another musician. So the boyfriend says, I thought he's your favorite. And now they're like, okay, let's wait for the rap to come in the end, and they will give the best statistics, that whether it's Jonita or this guy. I don't know this guy, so I can't tell you, but those who know, perhaps they would know. So again, look at the way they have kind of contextualized it. It's about India. They've made it in. They've done the same kind of commercials across the world, by the way, and amazing impact. And see, any business is out there to make money. It's a very simple principle. Nobody's out there to just, and which is why I have put the impact numbers in each and every slide, because what happens is that, and I'm trying to put a case for the fact that if you do this kind of marketing in which your consumer comes first, your community comes first, and you understand them well, and your business will be impacted beautifully. And that's the point all these slides are trying to make. So we can move to the next slide, Indrani. Thank you. Now, this is my understanding. I've been working in this region, Dubai, for the last almost 4 years now. And one of my big clients for 2 years was Dubai International Financial Center, DIFC. And the agency that I was given, I was the strategic head for the brand refresh that they were going through, or they wanted to go through. And the agency that they were working with was, they released one ad in Saudi, which did not go down very well, and they heard a lot of criticism, and that's when they decided that somebody who's an expert should come in, and so on and so forth. So it's a minor example, but the Saudi headgear, those who are aware of this region would know. But the Saudi KSA, Saudi headgear or headwear of men is very different from the UAE headwear. So I've put it like, the UAE guys use white cloth and then that black thing, and the Saudi thing is, of course, the flag bit comes in and it's, this colorful. If you mixed, and they are very, very almost jingoistic about their countries. And there's a certain rivalry right now going on between UAE and Dubai, Saudi, and because Saudi is the new emerging place, Dubai has done it in the last 20 years. Saudi is trying to do it, and that's why they are building new things like NEOM and stuff and all of that. And then suddenly Dubai announces that we have Museum of the Future and whatnot. So in this situation, cultural context, when there is a rivalry going on, you cannot misrepresent the community. And of course, DIFC wants, Dubai International Financial Center wants audience or businesses to come to DIFC to, put up an office there, make business here, because that will help them. But a communication in Saudi which shows a citizen of UAE with that kind of a headwear just didn't work. It just fell flat, and didn't really work. So that was one of the experiences that made me realize that how important it is to give the cultural context, even in India. I mean, which is why we translate work to different languages. We take, if in North India, it's let's say Akshay Kumar as the brand endorser. In the northern part of it, we'll take a southern star, maybe a Kamala Hassan or whoever is happening at that point in time for the southern part of the communication. It's as simple as, when you are in Rome, do as Romans do. So for me, it was not a new thing, because I have operated in India for the longest time, and I've done communication across, for Airtel, for Harpic, for all the brands which are national brands, and we follow this. We translate into different languages, we get the different brand endorsers, we do that. But in this market is still or not as mature as the Indian market is, so they're still learning this, and they make mistakes here and now. So that's one part. The other thing, I launched a lubricating oil in Africa, and before that, doing that, I had a lot of conversations with the people there who were my team there over there, and from that came out that Africa, they don't like the black color in the communication piece, in the clothes. If you've seen the African fashion and stuff, it's all very colorful, a lot of bright and vibrant colors. And so the brand that it was launched first in Dubai and then done in Africa. For Africa, I followed the design principles of Africa. So I changed the packaging of the lubricating oil. I did not do black. I did not do gray. I got colorful yellow. I got colorful red. And that brand was launched 6 months back. And it's doing, I mean, from the business perspective, it's just started, but I won't say that it's doing bad. It's on its road to evolution. So that's something I learned. So I thought these are there are many examples that I can give on this whole nuances of going to different countries and what you do there. And like I said, the example of McDonald's, they didn't get it, and it seems like why didn't they do it? It's like the most commonsensical thing to do. So yeah, that's the my experience part of it, and then we can move on to the next slide. Thank you, Rani. So what I also tried to do, okay, all this is a lot of great stuff, case studies and stuff. What is the takeout from this conversation? So I just thought I'll put down, 5, those who are wanting or interested from the audience in, inculcating this empathetic marketing or marketing in an empathetic way in their day-to-day job, or those who are students here, how they can inculcate that when they reach their workplace or when they start their career. So it's very important that you have to start with listening. You cannot have assumptions. Many brands in their snooty way, because we are big, we will do this and it'll work. It doesn't work. Coke tried to launch a new recipe long ago and it didn't work because people were used to Coke. So it failed miserably. They had to go back to the old recipe and they removed that line completely. So as from the example that I took, Dove's Real Beauty campaign just came out of listening to women and their various insecurities. Things need to be co-created with it's a community. Today's world is a community. It's not top-down approach. You cannot think that I'm at top and I'll speak to 10,000 people and they'll listen to me and they'll do what I want them to do. And that's what Spotify Rap does. It's so beautiful. I mean, while talking to you, I was finding it all the more beautiful than when I was writing it, because it's just amazing and it's just technology helping you to, do this. And then storytelling plays a great role because, as you saw on Google Play, they just did the amazing storytelling part of it. And you have to be transparent and vulnerable and authentic as well. I mean, when Airbnb had to, get, rid of or whatever lay of people after the COVID bit, the CEO issued just a heartfelt letter explaining what the situation is, and it went down very well. And of course, pay attention to the nuances of different cultures and societies, as I explained with the headwear example. Now, if we can move to the next slide. So Seth Godin, the marketing guru, says marketing is no longer about the stuff you make, but about the stories you tell. So I think that's where I will end. And next slide is about the Q&A. So open to all the questions now. Hope I did justice to what you guys were expecting me to do.
Hey, thank you so much, Miraj. I hope I got that right. Miraj, you said, right?
Meraj.
Yes. Thank you so much, Miraj, and very interesting session, specifically for me about the turban difference of KSA and UAE, right, and the color code difference of black for Nigerians and how you have to apply that on your branding, right? So very subtle differences, but a lot of connection to that. Thank you for the session. We'll open up this to the Q&A. Please feel free to switch on your cams and ask Miraj, whatever queries you have on this session. We'll open it up for the next 5 to 10 minutes.
I have a question for everyone before everyone asks me a question. Can I ask?
Please go ahead.
So what do you think are the brands which are not empathetic? Do you guys have any examples in your head?
Very good question. The railways.
Sorry?
The railways.
The railways, yes, Indian Railways, yeah, okay. Somebody says easy. I don't know what easy is, but
Easy.
easy.
Sanjay, you can switch on your audio and even let us know.
I can see Snag is here, my old friend.
I see. Sorry, buddy, I got a little late. Was running into something
Not a
else.
problem. Not a problem.
I
How are
was
you?
about to pick you, said कि भाई भेज दे मेरे को ये next.
Right.
How have you been, man?
All good, all good. So yeah, what are the examples? I'll give you my examples. Then perhaps you can think. IBM is a cold brand. IBM is a non-empathetic brand, right?
True.
It's a cold brand. Tesla is a cold brand because, of course, now with the new avatar of Elon Musk, it has become all the more colder. People are rejecting Tesla all across the US. That I bought it before Elon joined Trump. They put that on their Tesla when they're driving, right?
Yeah.
That's the other brand. So
Samsung
these
is
are the
cold.
examples that come to my mind. Yeah.
Samsung is cold.
Sorry?
Samsung, LG.
Samsung is cold. Samsung is cold.
I mean, they're as cold as their refrigerators.
Yeah. Interesting. What else? In India, Indian context, anything which is cold? Indian Railways is, by the way, a great example, Suraj, honestly. It's a great example.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's a great example.
Yeah, I just use the railways to come back to my hometown. So I was thinking how that experience could be
Fresh,
improved.
the harshness is fresh in your memory.
Yeah, true.
Okay, Sony, I mean, yes, to an extent, but they in between, yes, to an extent. Japanese people anyway are cold. They don't show emotions. Japan doesn't. They will have a tsunami and an earthquake. They will sit as if nothing has happened. They're just having a cup of tea. That's Japan for you. Yeah. But yeah, I just thought I will encourage the thinking as well, but now open to other questions. I mean, I think we've kind of, you know.
Yes. Any other queries? Please feel free to ask. I see Ashwin, Pavitra. Hello, guys. I see Pawan and Manoj who've unmuted themselves. Would you like to go first? Manoj, maybe you?
So if there are no questions, my presentation was either either a class act or it just didn't work. These are the two ways to look at it.
Yeah, we've seen
think
that.
it's more of a self-explanatory. Where you covered all the corners.
Yeah, I think we've got one question coming in from we've got two questions right now.
Yeah.
Indra, could you just unmute Manoj Kumar's microphone?
I saw a question from Ritika.
Yeah, from Ritika Malhotra. Would mutual fund and insurance brands be deemed as empathetic brands or playing on fear?
Very good question. They are trying very hard to be empathetic in today's time and age because they see mutual fund and insurance are always the way Indian audience see these categories. They don't see it as something which will help them in the long run. Indians are typically not thinking long term for a long. I mean, that's the typical thinking. So, but what has happened is with the campaigns like Sahi Hai, mutual fund Sahi Hai, which one brand did, and then currently आप जो भी invest करते हो वो SIP है, which says कि a mother is helping the child learn the dance and takes her to the classes every day, and that is SIP. So they're trying to inbuilt that emotion into the whole scheme of things. But traditionally, yes, Ritika, you're right. As a category, Indians have seen it as something that the company wants to take out of me. Because see, the insight is if I'm giving money to something, I should get something in return. With mutual fund, you don't get it immediately, right? That's the whole thing. If I'm buying this tumbler, I give whatever 30 dirhams and I buy this tumbler. It comes to me and I'm happy that I'm the owner of this. With mutual fund and insurance, you're not. You're doing something which will result in the next 5-10 years. So it's a difficult concept to explain, and which is why now they are getting into the emotional zone for the last 5-8 years of communication. So a very good question, Ritika Malhotra.
Wonderful. The next question is from Pavan. Not a question as such, sharing a thought. Addressing a need in itself demonstrates empathy regardless of whether it's incorporated into an advertising campaign. Empathy in marketing involves understanding and responding to customers' needs, wants, and pain points. While a campaign might showcase this empathy, it's not essential to do so. The core of empathy lies in recognizing and addressing those needs. Thank you, Pavan, for sharing your thoughts. I'll move on to the question.
Perfect. Just to add to that, Pavan, is that your comms may be beautifully empathetic. I'll tell you my example. Vodafone came up with this campaign about happy to help. And whenever I used to call them for some problem, nobody was happy to help and it left me very unhappy. Right. And I have been a Vodafone user for the longest time, the same number. But I would call and like nobody was there to help. Forget happy to help. Right. So it's a very good point. If you don't act upon it, it just becomes a dumb piece of great communication, and that's it.
So true. Right. We have the next question from Simple Advertising Ideas. I'm sure there's a name behind that. What would you say is the major difference of approach for any particular brand with respect to the Indian market and foreign markets like UAE or Africa?
Like a brand which is currently in UAE, Africa, and in India?
Yeah, how is the empathetic approach different? I believe that's what the question is.
Oh, okay. So if an Indian brand today wants to launch itself in UAE, what would be the empathetic approach? Is that the question?
You can clarify, Simple Advertising Minds. I think that is the question, Meraj.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, it's for an existing brand that's there in these regions.
Look, if you have done the damage, then it'll be very difficult to, undamage the damage. But if you've been listening to the way things are in this country, and you've been doing even a little amount of 20% of bringing cultural nuances in your communication and in your product, then it's an evolution. But if you have done a drastic damage, which, I mean, it took me a lot of time to figure it out with DIFC because they showed a communication piece with UAE headgear, which you mentioned, then it becomes and that's where again empathy works, because what happens is you will have to apologize immediately. You'll have to say, I'm sorry, I did a mistake. The moment a brand says, I'm sorry, I did a mistake, people take it. Sorry is always taken in the right tone in the largest part of the world in all relationships, if you're authentic. If you're just doing it as lip service, then okay, people will get it. So if you've done a mistake, go ahead and apologize. If you have not, then evolve with the culture. I can see another question.
Yes.
Manoj Kumar, I think he's
asked a question. Successful advertisement like 5-star.
Okay.
Zuzu has empathetic factors. I think it's more of a statement, not a question from Manoj. We will move on to Lakshmi's question, which is, can being empathetic ever backfire?
Very good question. I have an example in my head. I didn't think of it, but as you asked, Lakshmi, it's a brilliant question. What happened was Gap some 7-8 years ago changed its logo, thinking people are looking at thin lines today, because Apple introduced in this whole world thin fonts. Apple made thin fonts the coolest thing in this world. Every brand wanted to go to the thin fonts, right? So Gap did the same thing, and it's a fashion wear brand. Within 20 days of that, they got so much of backlash from their fans and loyal base. They had to go back to their old logo, which was we call sans serif, with the all of that. They had to go back to the old logo. They thinned it, they collapsed it, like Zara did today, and nobody got the backlash, right? Zara is still continuing. But many people criticized it also because Zara, why has Zara become collapsed and whatever thin? And but this is, I'm talking way before, and people are used to fashion brand in a certain way, so they had to go back to the old logo. Same with Coke. They thought people like when Pepsi came in, Pepsi was sweeter, right, than Coke. And Pepsi gave them a huge competition and they were punching hard. And the Coke thought we should have something to address Pepsi also. So they created a new, formulation. But that didn't work. People don't want Coke that way. You see, they want Coke in a certain way. They want Pepsi in a certain way. So they had to withdraw the entire formulation. So good question, and it's it made me think, and I thought I can come up with these two examples. Maybe I'll think further on it. That's why I said all these sessions are always learning experience.
Yeah, so I guess it's the big brands that have the wherewithal to make that mistake and again go back, right?
Yes.
And
yes, like the whole eyewear gadget didn't work for any of the brands so far, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Like for Google Lens and even
Meta
all
and
of
those, yeah. We have a question from. Okay, so Pawan's point of view was Coke and Gap were empathetic.
Correct.
They misread their fan following.
Correct. They didn't really know what exactly. They were not close to the core audience. Exactly.
Perfect. So I think with another minute left, I'm going to we'll have to close the Q&A session.
Sure.
And let probably Bala, if you can give the vote of thanks, Bala.
Yes, Suraj.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for being part of this wonderful session. So what this session also brings in is more of a responsibility for a brand in terms of addressing and for unforeseen activity from a clientele. And Miraj, it's great to have you here. Thank you so much. And we also like to thank our Advertising Club Madras staff, Ms. Indra and Vaishnavi, for being integral part of all the work that clubs have been able to do, and also our unseen person, Mr. Logesh. So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this session, and we look forward for an enriching session again on InsightView series. And meanwhile, next week is a big week. We have series of session coming up. Next week we have an Art Talk series, Art Talk program at a nice cool place, and we also restarted the deadline uh, program where each and every budding agency, from the budding agency to the big agency, can be part of this the deadline program where you are entitled to win a cash prize of 75,000 and 50,000 rupees or 50,000 rupees. That's the first prize and the second prize. So the concept for the of the deadline is we have a nice clientele called Super Chennai. So who want to do an integrated activity across Chennai to uplift the Chennai as a city. So so you will be given a brief for 72 hours before. So probably please attend those briefs. You can send in your entries and be part of the program. And then within 72 hours, you have to come and present your program, present your integrated solution for Super Chandi. So
Hey, Bala,
thank you very much.
sorry to interrupt. Miraj wants to say something, I think.
Yeah, Manoj said something that thanks, and I said, you're most welcome. I enjoyed this session completely. And I would like to thank all of you to be a part of this. Suraj, Bala, Art Club Madras, and all the people who asked the questions. And I learned a lot while even talking. See, learning and understanding things is an evolving process. It doesn't happen in like packets. It happens continuously, right? So I had a great experience, and thank you, everyone. That's all. And thank you, Indrani, for changing the slides. Please, I'm sorry I had to put you through it, but you did a great job, and thank you very much. And yeah, that's what I just wanted to say. Thank
And
you
by
very
the way,
much.
Meraj, this is one of a very interactive session. Probably the participants are a little limited than we have seen in past, but it is one of the
Right.
very interactive sessions that we have.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
You're most welcome, and glad to be here. Honored to be here.
Thanks a ton, Miraj, and we'll connect.
Absolutely,
Thank
Suraj.
you. Thank you.
Have a great
Bye,
day.
guys. Have a lovely weekend, everyone.